On this episode of Taskforce Geek, we welcome comic creators Brent and Michelle, who will be talking about their comic anthology Kickstarter, The Color of Always, and we'll be doing a truncated episode with On Blast, and that's all coming up now. Hey, welcome to Taskforce Geek. My name is Dirk Cooper, and today we are joined by Walt.
What's up, everyone?
Hello, Walt. He's had a long trip home. But treat Walt nice today, please. And we also have our guests, comic creators Brent. Hello, Brent.
Hello.
And Michelle.
Hey, guys.
Hello to Michelle.
Hello.
And that is our crew for tonight. How's everyone doing?
I'm good.
Good. Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Well, we're going to go right straight to our feature presentation. So that is coming up right now. Brent's dancing. We like that.
That wasn't too much different from what I was listening to in the car on the way home. So
Is that right?
Yeah.
That'll keep it going. So as way of introducing our two guests, we got two guests tonight, both working on the same project, and then they have their own individual projects. We will break all that out here in just a minute. We start with Brent Fisher. I'll give his bio. Brent is a comic writer that shares their central Ohio home with their wife, Magan, and two old miniature Dachshund siblings. I love Dachshunds. Hansel and Gretel. My old dog was a Dachshund. They were recently published in the Big Hype comic anthology by our buddy Doug Wood, friend of the show, Doug Wood, and will soon be published in the Off Into the Sunset and Producing the End of the World anthologies. In addition to creative pursuits that also include other forms of short fiction, including poetry, very cool, Brent sits on the board of an LGBTQIA+ youth advocacy organization and collects Captain Marvel memorabilia. We'll talk about that. And with unrepentant zeal, he says. So, Brent, welcome.
Michelle will have words about this.
Okay.
All I can say is, Brent, if you were able to get a pair of those Vans Captain Marvel shoes, I'm jealous.
What do you mean? You're wearing them?
No, Michelle.
You're pointing. Oh, okay.
Not Vans, but Michelle's the shoe person. So if you want to talk shoes, she'll chime in later.
Yeah, we could talk about shoes later. I'm all ears.
Because all I was able to get were the Black Panthers and the Deadpools, and they had run out of my size for the Captain Marvels.
Oh.
So
Sorry. Wait a minute. We got a comment. I don't even. I don't even. Welcome, Bernice. Yep. I don't know. You're gonna have to give me some help on that. Okay. Michele Abounader. Did I do it right?
Abounader. Like
Terminator.
Terminator.
I will mess that up.
Just go with Terminator. Just replace.
Michelle
There
Terminator.
it is.
Man, you should definitely do that.
Just legally change it.
Yes. Just go all the way.
My father will be so proud.
Absolutely. It's going to be good times. Michelle has been writing for most of her life. She has recently found a new purpose in writing comics. That's good stuff. And is excited to debut as a writer and editor for The Color of Always anthology. We'll talk about that in a moment. An enthusiast for breakfast foods. Hello. I am an enthusiast for breakfast foods.
My new best friend.
I need to put that on my bio. She spends a lot of time cooking and hanging out with her wife and pets, dog, and again, if I get this name wrong, please tell me, Dog Corbin and cat Taki?
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Are we going to see the pets? Anyone's pets?
No,
I'm into that.
Not.
At their home. At their home in New Jersey. When not working or writing, she can usually be found browsing eBay for Sailor Uranus collectibles, playing Nintendo, or watching the same two movies on repeat forever. So I have to ask, what are the two movies?
Well, I have like my Netflix comfort movies. You know, everybody has their tried and true.
Sure.
And I tend to watch Always Be My Maybe, that Ali Wong movie. It's so funny.
All right.
And it's funny every time. And Dumplin', also a Netflix original featuring the music of Dolly Parton and some drag queens. It's great.
Very interesting. All right, very cool.
I get, the same emotional reaction every time I watch them. It's a safe way to end the day.
That's how I am with Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So
There you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. Same energy actually. But
mhm.
dumplings kind of like hairspray for the modern era, in my opinion.
That's a good way to put it.
I like that. Yeah, very good. All right, so the same question to both Brent and Michelle at the same time. Tell us your origin story related to writing and
Okay.
what brings you to writing comics. And let's start with Brent first, please, on that.
Well, I've been writing poetry and short fiction for the last 10 years, but it's mainly for myself. I'm one of those Tumblr creators where I would put it into the ether, and, I just didn't think it was, if somebody sees it, great. If they get a like, that's awesome. And I kind of specialized in what I would call micro narratives, where it'd be kind of poetry prose, but it would have some kind of ancillary story attached. And I started falling into comics as I rediscovered it about 2012 with Captain Marvel when Carol took on the mantle of the job.
Right.
Carol, and I started collecting with unrepentant zeal, and as part of it, I was starting to commission art, collect the books, and then I befriended artists, befriended creators, realized and rediscovered part of that love was extended beyond just collecting and reading. I wanted to start creating, and I realized that illustrated procedural narratives was where my voice stood. I think visually, I write visually, and I convey stories with emotion intended to be disseminated and understood beyond the barriers of like maybe language. There's a universality to comics that I think is multicultural, multilingual, and that universality is what drove me to go further with it. And people have started giving me chances within the last 2 to 3 years. All those networks that I built, I never really was very vocal about my ability in this space. And once they realized I had the capability of writing, they gave me chances, and I kept on seizing them. And I've like just a few anthologies here and there. It's how you get started, really, especially as a writer. And I wanted to give back. So this is my first crowd-funded project with The Color of Always, and I wanted it to be something where I elevated other voices alongside my own. And I took it one step further by making it LGBTQIA plus oriented. But realistically, it's my way of giving back before I really start overtly chasing even deeper dreams.
Right. I like that you said that writing or comics is universal. There's a universality to comics, because I think that's it's one of the few mediums, I think, that you have both. It's both reading and it's visual. So it's like what you'd see on movies or television, but it's a lot cheaper to produce. you
Yeah.
know, and your budget is unlimited. I mean, you can put people on Mars, and you can have whatever cast you want, and whatever. And it definitely speaks across borders. There's no question about that.
It's the limitless horizon for the common person, in my opinion. It's accessible. It's still relatively affordable, and much in the way of creating, but also in consuming. And it's a gateway to greater and more marvelous things, depending on how you want to take it. You can refine your craft further into comics, or you could take it into other endeavors based on creativity and talent.
Absolutely. Michelle, same question to you. What's your writing origin story, and what brings you to comics?
I'm afraid my origin story is probably just a little bit darker than Brent's. Started writing when I was very young, probably, I want to say early, like late middle school, early high school. And it was a lot of just needing to like get my thoughts out, a lot of journaling and stream of consciousness, poetry, short stories really took over my, I guess, anxiety and depression of the teenage years of somebody who's closeted and living with like religious family and really trying to cope with being closeted and figuring myself out. And the one place that I felt like I could be open and honest was in my writing. And I think it really helped me, by giving me an outlet, even though nobody was reading it.
Sure.
Just to be able to get all that on paper. And I eventually went to college and got a bachelor's degree in creative writing with a concentration in poetry. And I was reading and writing just so much, and I totally burnt out. I lost every will I had to read and write, and I did not. I continue to read here and there when something really sparked my interest, but writing, I really couldn't break any kind of block. I could not get there until very recently. I started writing again. The story I have in Color of Always is actually the first thing I've completed, as like I said in my bio. It's the first thing I've written in like 9 years that's been
Wow.
completed. So I'm really excited to be able to share that with people. And why comics? I saw something online about, and this is going to sound really silly, but like I really love Xena, but like who doesn't love Xena? And a few years ago,
I agree with that.
they started making like Xena comics again, and I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. I thought, comics were like superhero things. Like I think many people who aren't exposed to like the medium of comics and what it actually is now, they think comics is like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and like that's what comics is. So I figured, well, let me just go. I'm not doing anything. I have no hobbies. I need to like do something. I'm very boring. So I just Googled comic shops near you and picked one at random that was close to my office and just kind of like meandered over there and added a bunch of stuff to my pull list based on recommendations from the people that work there and just like started reading. And I was so amazed at all the different stories and things that were not superhero comics. And I think I've been just burying myself in these wonderful stories, beautiful art, just great stories. If you can see on the wall behind me, I have a lot of Heathen covers hanging. I love Heathen. It's one of my favorite books from Vault.
Yeah.
And I just it was exciting for me to like learn about people using comics as a different way to tell stories and not just about superheroes. And I think that people that say, oh, I don't read comics, oh, I don't like comics, I think they don't realize what it is, what it can be. And I truly
Absolutely.
think there's something for everybody in there. So I think you can find anything. Just have to play to your interest.
Literally anything.
Anything. Literally anything.
I mean, stuff that you can't find in any other like genres and styles that you can find nowhere else. Yep. You can find in comics.
Even art styles. I mean, they're like I got my mom into reading comics here and there. Just because I showed her a book that was fully painted by Alex Ross.
Beautiful.
And so she was looking at the pictures and then she started reading and she's like, that's actually a good story. I'm like, yeah, of course. It was superheroes, but
I'm not knocking superheroes.
Oh, I know. But I have I love everything comics. I collect a little bit of everything. So.
Yeah, and you know what? This is not a new thing. I mean, I got into comics because of like independent comics were so bizarre. And, I mean, science fiction and fantasy stuff and experimental stuff, strange comedy things and, the artwork. I mean, you can really explore a lot of worlds. And I mean, that goes back to even, in the early days, when I was collecting it. And, I love superhero stuff, but most of the stuff that I collect now is not superhero stuff unless it's done by, an artist that I'm going gaga over, then usually I'll pick that up. And some of the best artists and writers in the business are doing superhero stuff. But whatever it is that you're into outside of comics, they're doing it in comics, and in many cases they're doing it better.
I think a lot of people don't realize that. They don't. Like if I were to tell, some of my friends, oh yeah, I wrote a comic, they'd be like, oh, like a Superman or something. Be like, yes.
Yeah.
They hired me to write me. Yep.
Right.
A thing that would happen. Right.
And if you start looking at manga and stuff, like if you're to horror stuff, there's like Junji Ito that you could be checking out. I mean, his stuff is crazy.
and one of my, speaking of, your mainstream comics, still one of my favorite comics of all time from Marvel is the Nam, the series about Vietnam.
The Nam. I have that. I have almost a complete set.
Same here.
Really?
Yeah.
Michael Golden art, folks. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Who wrote that?
The artwork was phenomenal.
Was
the
it
stories
Larry
were great.
Hama that wrote that? Who wrote that?
I think Larry Hama had a few in there. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've read
Even
them.
Marvel and DC dips their toes in other genres occasionally.
It was very readable from what I remember from like my childhood. I mean, mine are in a long box too, somewhere upstairs. But like, I read them back. I mean, they're probably not in the best condition, but I kept them because I have these fond memories of reading them. They're great.
Yeah,
for sure. Gigi says, "Mr. Hooper, you continue to perform at a very high level with Walt. America needs you both right now more than ever."
Aw.
Wow.
Oh, you don't know how much I needed this right now, so I'll get into that later.
All right, good stuff. All right, same question again for both of our guests. What is your comic writing process like? And this time, let's start with Michelle.
Whew. Well, I don't really sit down to write. I write whenever it's convenient for my brain to write. So that could mean it's 3 a.m. and I'm in a Google Doc on my phone, like laying in bed in the dark, doing my best to like type out something that's in my head, or I'm working my day job and I'm toggling inputs to get over to my personal computer to write a couple lines of dialogue. I don't really have like since I work like a Monday through Friday desk job, work from home. So I have that convenience of being able to switch over when I need to. I don't really have like dedicated time that I can sit and write. It really just is whenever my brain feels like doing it. I just kind of like let it happen, especially after such a long writer's block. I try not to put too much pressure on myself to meet like arbitrary deadlines that don't mean anything, because I had enough trouble getting myself going again. I don't need to like freeze myself out once again. So at this point, I'm just kind of trying to take every word I write as a win. Even if it's 2 or 3 words, it could be really meaningful down the road. So I just try to take everything I do as a positive, everything as a win. I guess that's best I can say for my process right now.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Whatever your process is, it's great. Let me ask, do you do stuff on your phone, or do you do it on your, like use Word or?
I work mainly in Google Docs because I have so many devices, and it's easy for me to be able to hop back into it if I'm on my phone, or I have a Chromebook now to keep, around the house. And then I have like a desktop that I sit at for work. So I never know where I'm going to be. So I don't want to keep it all in one place. So
no, look, that's a really good point. I think that that being able to work across platforms is very, very important. It's not like I personally will use all kinds of crazy things like Evernote, and then I will also dictate stuff using a Google Recorder app and a bunch of other things. So whatever you use is the right thing. It's a lot easier than it used to be. That's for sure.
Oh, that's for sure.
You had to plunk it out on a typewriter, and if you did the wrong word, you could either just live with it, or you could put some whiteout on it or something. I mean, it's just a lot easier to get thoughts down now electronically, for sure.
Oh, that's like me right now on our project, Dirk. A lot of the things that my ideas.
Breaking news.
Ooh. Yeah, breaking news. I'm using sticky notes at the office, so in between work, I'm doing little doodles on sticky notes.
Yeah.
And if I like it, I stick it in my notebook, and I bring it home if I'm going to use it for something.
There you go.
Yeah. If I like the illustration and I think I want to use it for something, I'm scanning it in.
There you go.
So
absolutely.
It ain't going over it that way. So.
Everyone has their own method, and there's whatever it is, as long as you get to the finish line, that's a good method.
Oh, maybe someday. God, I'm
that's what you got to do when you have that day job.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work in spreadsheets and stuff for the Kickstarter for the anthology. Like, there's a lot of back end going on, so I don't have a ton of free time to attempt any other writing. But I write in Google Sheets a lot. I write numbers into spreadsheets a lot. So, but it's got to get done.
Right, Michelle, you're doing editing on. We're about to talk about Color of Always, but you're doing editing on there. How does that come out? I mean, what's your process on that? Same thing.
I have like two ways of reading. I like read for editing and read for reading. So it's sort of, I think, something that a lot of our generation of fanfic readers, we have to be able to turn off. Do I want to read this? It's written very poorly, but the story is good. So you have to be able to get there. But so I think I have sort of like two sides of my brain for reading and editing, and you read it for the story, and then read it for punctuation and grammar, and you read it for what could be improved, what little changes can we make to help tell the story better. And I think our process for editing for this anthology was very collaborative, so it helps if you have a team of people to talk about your ideas for editing, so that I think this is a good idea, what do you think, and you can kind of explain yourself, and as a team make decisions on what to suggest. So I think really it's just I try to let myself read it first as somebody who's reading it to enjoy it, to see what sort of emotions are invoked by the story, and if any, and is it a good story? Is it going to fit in with what we're looking for? And that's the most important thing. And then how much effort do we want to spend in editing? And I think it was more of just like a collaborative effort. I'm proud of what we've done.
Very cool. Brent, same question. What is your writing process like?
I do it in a few different ways. I am not admittedly a good chess player, if that's a good metaphor. I'm not 10 steps ahead. I tend to write in the moment, and I tend to write very viscerally, and it's the only. And in fact, I have to force myself to compose going forward, because that's how the story breathes life into itself. For something of relative length, I create a rough outline. I break it up into like a very like school book way, Roman numerals for big sections, acts, subcategorizations with one line descriptor of what's going to be transpiring. And it really lends itself well to a visual medium. I then give an approximation of how many panels I'd like to see. I try to keep it to a certain median. And then I just start going for it. I have to sit down. I'm a graduate of that Gail Simone comic school that she held during.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
In its early days. That's actually really where I started. Maybe I can do this. And so I did it, and I threw a script around, and another artist read my script and says, I'm going to throw you a bone. And that's how I got into Big Hype. And that's kind of what got things going. But no, I break it out, take that, can channel it into a certain allotment of pages. And I just go for it. One of the cardinal rules that Gail told us was there's no perfect moment, which kind of dovetails into what Michelle was saying too. Like, there could be a crying baby, there could be dogs barking. You may have to get up 8 times for kids, or to make dinner, or to answer the door, or you might be compiling it in your head in between shifts at work. You might be stocking shelves. You might be doing anything. But as long as that story is unraveling itself into your noggin and you get it down and keep polishing it, it'll work. And that's kind of where I'm from. I'm very visceral. Get it in there, get the idea of what it looks like, and breathe life into the characters. The words will follow, and that's very organic. How my approach.
Yeah. What kind of what kind of programs or devices or whatever you showed us some note cards there a minute ago?
Yeah, well, when I'm in a situation, and I think Walt and I are kindred spirits on this. And I'm like, I usually get some really good ideas, and I'm not near anything. It's the back of a day calendar. And I just rip it off, and I started jotting down, okay, this happens, and this happens, and this happens. And that's what I do if I'm not near anything. I've written pages of script on my phone on the toilet.
You bet.
I make edits. I make edits on my phone constantly because if I don't make that change when I'm thinking about it, it may be gone forever. And the worst, of course, is the 3 a.m. This is a phenomenal idea, and if I don't write this idea down,
you got to get
gone.
it down.
And I'm sure we've.
Sometimes your brain will be working on something while you're sleeping, and you wake up and you go, aha. And if you don't have something to write down next to your bed, by the time you get up, you probably lose it again, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Very, very important to have. As a writer, it's important to have whatever it is. It's note cards or, like I said, I use Evernote or notebooks or Google Docs, whatever. Just capture the stuff.
Google Docs, I'm sorry to answer the more base utilitarian question. It's Google Docs predominantly.
Yeah, I think people need to understand. That's why I asked this question, because most people who are writing stuff that you see out there are in the same position that you are. They got a day job. They're doing the best they can with the time they've got. Very few people have the luxury of waking up every morning and doing, just writing or just art. It's the dream. It's always the dream. But, most of the stuff that you see out there, particularly if it's independent stuff, is being done on the side. And people need to know that maybe your methods are not so different from their methods, or maybe you've got some idea that they never thought about before, which is why I try to get some process questions out there. All right, let's talk about The Color of Always. And I'm going to put up the stuff, and either one of you can take this. Tell us about how this came about.
I will do a light introduction, and then I'm going to mention how I brought Michelle on board, and then
sure, great.
Michelle will take over from there and create all the color and the lines.
All right,
which is in actuality what she did in terms of some of that as well. I wanted to give back to the community that kind of put me on its shoulders. And so this is my first crowdfunding endeavor. It's my first personal project. I wanted to elevate other voices with me, and I wanted it to be LGBTQIA plus audiences and creators, much to the extent that I had control over it. And I wanted it to be about love. I wanted it to be. I find that oftentimes the only type of queer stories that are palatable to a non-queer audience is I fell in love with my best friend and nobody likes it, or they do accept it, or some kind of coming out story, which are both very valid, and I wanted to include those, but I don't think, and that comes along with the subtextual experience of like killing off a gay character or a queer coded character in subtext. We're not allowed to have good things narratively. It's not interesting, or it's not palatable, or it's just. I wanted to have an experience. I wanted to have a creation where we could compile stories of joy and happiness and love. However, love is a double-edged sword, and there are elements of love that are dangerous, and I wanted to normalize that too. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be distraught, because it came from a place where it did matter at one point in time. And I just feel that queer audiences don't see enough of that in a lot of popular media, even where there's ostensibly a queer element to it. And that's predominantly why I wanted to do this. And I wanted to bring on as many voices as I could and as many permutations as I could, from found family to coming out stories, to learning to accept yourself, to falling in love with your chosen person, or to have two dads or two moms. It could literally be anything within that umbrella. And I just invited everybody to come forward and do that I wanted to be majority LGBTQIA plus identifying creators. My stipulation for this is a majority of the teams, which includes letterers and colorists, as well as writers and artists, be part of the community. And I got all that down. I hired a great cover artist, Elisa Romboli, from a thing called Truth right now with Image.
I want to show that in a minute. It is great. It is a great cover.
And I hired a logo artist from Lettering Bear, Lucas, just a wonderful person. And I had all that down. I had a plan. I had a form. I started networking. And then I realized I needed help. And I came up with, I found an editorial team comprised of an artist, the one that gave me a chance for what it's worth, a Fellhound, author and writer and artist for Commander Rao of Scout Comics, recently, and Justin Richards, writer for Finger Guns for Vault. And I wanted them to be my kind of counselors from both sides of the equation, writing and artistry. And we're going to make sure everyone's perspective was valued and factored in. And then I needed somebody to basically be my right hand without even realizing it. And I reached out to Michelle, who is a friend of mine from Liana Kangus's Patreon community. And we just bonded early on before that. And I just said, hey, do you want to do this? Do you have any background in this? Well, as a matter of fact, and she helped with everything from project management wise. And then became a co-creator in her own right. And but beyond that, though, her involvement of budget and everything, I want her to go into where she had to kind of keep me on a straight and narrow and also get everything going.
Brent,
Michelle, you take over. It's all you if you want to take it from there. For Color of Always.
Brent has been a dear friend of mine for probably going on like a year and a half, couple years now, you think?
Yeah.
Something like that. And I guess like my goal with going to college for writing was always publishing. The goal was always publishing, but as I'm sure you know, like the publishing industry is not very open and kind when it comes to entry level, when it comes to opportunities without having connections. So I didn't live in New York City when I was younger. I lived in the Syracuse area, which isn't close to the city. It's still in New York, but there wasn't really like opportunity. So I graduated from college with writer's block and no opportunities in any kind of publishing. So I did whatever everybody does when they graduate with like a bachelor's in liberal arts, is I worked at the mall and got into sales and marketing and those sorts of things, working retail, consumer products, and just kind of like learning how to make stuff. And it sort of like runs parallel to publishing, because any kind of consumer product is, the supply chain. You're learning what goes into creating something, from, artists and packaging designers to, people who actually physically make it, to the raw materials, to, every little piece of producing something. It is meaningful. And I think
it's related.
It definitely translates over in a way that's been very helpful for Brent and myself on this journey. And I think that just my experience in all the million jobs that I've had over my lifetime has definitely given me some insight into how to make stuff for people. And I've kind of just took that and ran with it. And I think a lot of our development of the campaign itself came from what would I buy? What have I bought? I've backed, I think, like 46 or 47 projects on Kickstarter, which isn't quite as much as Brent, but I'm getting there.
It's a lot, though.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Because I like things. I like the
like things too.
So
I think we all like things.
Right. I kind of approached it with like the mentality of like, what would I want to buy? What would attract me to this? What types of rewards and add-ons make sense for this type of project, for the types of stories that we're telling, the people that we're, going to be trying to get to support us? What would they want to see? And I think just like my background in those things helped us steer this campaign into like a really great direction with regard to like what we were going to include, how we were going to approach our reward tiers, what types of add-ons we were going to create. And as far as the budget is concerned, Brent wants it all. And it kind of like turned me into this sort of angry, I called myself the sad budget elf. In stature, I'm not very tall. I'm quite short, so I suppose I'm a little bit of an elf. So I was a sad budget elf because I would get these messages from Brent that's like, I've added another artist. I've decided I want to do this. Let's do 13 stories instead of 10. Let's do spot gloss on the cover. And I'm like, these are all really beautiful ideas, but did you look at the budget? And they were like, it's fine. We're great.
More money.
We had a lot of artists come to us after the fact and be like, "Hey, can I do a print too?" And
they want it in.
How do I? Because they're identifying as part of the community.
It's a good sign.
So it's like I gotta let them in if we can afford it. And then Michelle plays it tough, but I mean, I do like. I'm like, well, can we do it, Michelle? And she's like, of course we have to. I don't like it. It works, I guess, And so, but I always defer to her.
We always found a way, and that I think it's important. It's been important to me from the beginning. Like, though I did step into this like co-creator role, it's been very important to me to make sure that everything that we're doing stays true to Brent's vision for this project, because it's, their baby, their brainchild, and I never wanted to like get to a point where I was making choices and putting my foot down about things that would take away from what the project means to them and their vision for it. So if it's more of like if you want this to happen, let me tell you how it can happen, and you let me know if that works for you. It's kind of like, where can we cut a corner? Like, it meant a lot to Brent to not change the size of the book. We wanted to go traditional trade size, and I, agreed. And I didn't want to. Sure, we could save money if we, cut a couple inches off the top of the book, but like, we wanted to keep a traditional size. That meant a lot. Also, like going, when we were looking at different printers, people that we were going to choose to print with, like staying with like the book being printed in the US so that it wouldn't we wouldn't have to deal with like supply chain concerns down the road with everything that's going on. Like, sure, it costs a little bit more, but
that could have been a very smart decision.
Yeah,
it probably was a really good choice.
And all of our production's domestic.
Like, we definitely didn't choose like the cheapest option for things. We definitely chose the best option for the project. And I think a lot of people sort of default to like whatever's cheapest, and they think like that's the way to do it. And
sometimes
I think
that
just
costs
like
more though.
Yeah, I think just
in the end,
my
cheap
experience,
costs more.
like in my experience, sometimes you just can't. You have to go. The best option is not always the cheapest option, and I think that's helping us stay truer to what Brent and myself both envision the project to look like at the end.
And that's the one area where I actually get imposter syndrome. Not the writing, not the working, nothing like this. It's the idea of having a vision. I don't feel like I deserve to have a vision. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm just trying to create a thing. But it's nice when it's one of the things I think that Michelle brings to the table too, that unconsciously probably saved me a little bit too, is realizing that I'm allowed to be in charge of this to a degree, in the sense of the creativity. The Color of Always is actually based on a poem I wrote a few years ago that I thought no one would ever read. And now it's going to be the lettering for the 2-page intro story that I paid Elisa Romboli to do as like a mission statement for the book.
Cool.
So they're
gonna read it now.
They'll read it now, I guess.
So it's okay to be audacious sometimes. To really reach for it.
Yeah,
I think
you
we're
have
each
a right
other's
to do that.
cheerleaders. Absolutely, like it's part of this really great team environment that we've been building, both within like our editorial team and within our creative team. We have like a Discord server for the creators in the book, and a lot of them have joined, and they hang out there and post like work in progress and like hype each other up, both for this project and other projects that they have going on. And it's really nice to see just people supporting each other. And I think especially in comics community, people that are trying to break in, Brent and I always talk about like trying to get a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And how sometimes you feel like no matter what you do, you're kind of like, you're trying to like, inch in there, and you feel like it's not possible. So it's just kind of like, well, we just built our own table, and that sometimes you just have to.
Yes.
And I think it's
certainly
definitely something that we think about a lot, like this table that we've now built for people, and just to make sure that we always leave it as open as possible and stay as inviting as we can, because especially within like LGBT community, like I feel like a lot of people get doors closed in their face. I think a lot of feedback we've gotten from our creators is that this isn't a story they've ever been given the opportunity to tell before, that we're encouraging them to be authentic and honest. And I think if we remain the same, authentic and honest with each other and with the people on our team, we can continue to build something really great and boost people and give them opportunities. And Brent says a way to give back to the comics community, as well as I think a way to give back to like the LGBT community. But I think for me also, it's sort of like want to give people the opportunities that like maybe I wish I had 10 years ago. Give like younger creators this opportunity to be more honest with the world and have that opportunity to be out there and tell these stories and have that encouragement from other people. And I think that's sort of something that's kind of priceless. So
Absolutely.
For me, that's what means the most.
Yeah. Walt, are you feeling that, man?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
All
right.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to mention one more thing too. I came out as non-binary 3 years ago, and I did it as part of the comic community. That the queer community within the comic community was a large part of that. Rediscovering my love of comics actually helped me rediscover a part of myself that I forgot was there, and I never had terminology for. I'm one of those textbook cliche, really great allies that just didn't understand. And I'm 40, and I lived a majority of my life benefiting from a face that looks like this. And I wanted to use the experience and the opportunities I've been given by looking like this, and turn it into something that could help other people who don't and are neglected because of it. And I will say one more thing too. I only mentioned it to a few people, but when I've brought up my anthology to people in the press on 2 separate occasions, they thought I was talking about the bisexuality anthology that came out recently that was already funded. And if the room is that small, where I can be confused with another LGBT oriented anthology that easily,
right,
I think it speaks volumes about how necessary this is. But that's my only one takeaway too. Yeah.
Earlier we were talking about how how many genres and how much is out there for comics. This absolutely plays into that. And if there's not enough of this, then, good for you guys. For bringing, like you said, for building this table and inviting other people in here. Sometimes you have to do it yourself. If no one else is doing it, you got to do it.
One of those, it's a lot of work, but someone's got to do it.
Someone else. It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's worth it, though. Hey, let's show people the comic.
Yes.
How about this? Here is your Kickstarter page. Let's start up here at the top here. You can see it right here. The color
174 backers in
let's
less
talk
than
about
9
that.
hours.
When was this launched? Earlier today?
Noon. Eastern time. So.
Wow. I mean, okay, 8 hours ago.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
Look. You are off to a great start here. I mean, you've got 174 backers, which is impressive unto itself, and you're over $8,000 already.
That's over incredible. A third. That's over a third.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about $1,800 away from half. And,
I would say that people are hungry for your table.
Yeah, and we were very aggressive in how I networked. I basically called in every favor, every contact, every networking opportunity I've ever had. And also just being kind, being good, including everyone, being genuine about what we're trying to do. Yeah, it speaks volumes too.
Yeah.
And there are 36 creators total involved in the book. And
wow.
That's definitely helpful, including like our rewards artists.
Sure.
So I think we also have, the network of those people and the people that care about their work and care about their lives.
Sure.
And it's been so wonderful to like read people's posts about like their feelings about the book that they're in. And I think it's nice to just like look at those like quote retweets on Twitter of people that are in the book saying like, I'm in this and this is what it means to me. It would mean a lot to me if you back it. And it's very humbling to see that and know that like that's something that we are doing. We're giving these people this opportunity to be like, hi mom and dad, look, I did this, or like, look at me. And if they don't have that, I'm proud of you. And like Brent and I are proud of you and we'll tell you every day. And I think like if we're making one person's life feel more accepting and better, there's like, this is absolutely worth it to help even just one person, but we're helping, 34 other people that are involved in this, and the majority of which identify as part of the community. Like it's all just, I can't even rationalize it in my brain how incredible all of it feels. And I think it's easy to just get lost in my numbers and my spreadsheets and not think about like the bigger picture. Because when I do, it's just like I go reaching for my numbers again because I just can't think about it because it seems like it's not a thing that's real.
We mentioned Big Hype earlier. That's one of the benefits of having a large number of creators is that their platform, they lend their platform to your platform on this. So you have multiplied automatically. You've multiplied how many people are talking about your project, and each of them have a little piece of that. And so, you have a bunch of ambassadors out there that brought you 100. I think we just got another backer. Am I correct on that?
It just went up one. It just went up one.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
And speaking of Doug, since he's a friend of the show, Doug and Fellhound that was my start. And also, I'm a proud member of the Phoenix Comics Collective, which I believe Doug was shoved into the presidential seat for, at least last I checked. And,
right.
And it's a good group of folks, and just trying to make a go of it together. Yeah. And so I'm indebted to them for their support as well.
You just got another backer.
Oh, nice.
This has been all day for me. Just
I don't know if I can take credit for that, but that's
you get credit during this period. Just free credit. Big highlight moment though is when somebody was showing me a thing that Linda Carter tweeted out about trans rights, and I tweeted to Linda Carter going, "Hey, if you want to support some trans artists and creators, I've got an anthology over here. You want to retweet our tweet?" And she's sure. So we got Linda Carter retweeted us earlier today too. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So cool. And
brain.
Good for her.
By the way, I got her autograph right over here on my wall. So.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. We all freaked out a little bit. I mean, obviously.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Let's take a look at some of the art and stuff. By the way, who put this Kickstarter page together?
A combined effort of both of us.
Okay. Great page. I mean, the graphics on this look really great. I like the way that you split up your different sections here. You definitely, particularly like right here, you lay your mission out very clearly for everyone. You can't undersell how important it is for you to do these Kickstarters correctly, and I think that you really nailed it on this. I want to compliment you on that.
That's actually a paraphrased passage from my About page from my personal website. Cool. I edited it slightly, but I firmly believe in stories, in that context.
Yeah. This is a great cover. Who did the cover again?
That is a great cover.
Elisa Romboli, an Italian artist that is
Beautiful.
known for, I believe, Alice in Leatherland for Black Mask. And,
wait a minute. Let me write that down. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you think it is too.
Well, that's right up my alley. So
yeah.
I'm going to check that out.
Alice in Leatherland.
Yep, I'm into that.
I think.
Hey, I think Ronnie just joined us.
You're kidding? Oh, did he do a comment here?
Yeah.
Let's get over here.
Ronnie's one of our
Ronnie,
regulars.
welcome, Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie.
We've been off for a couple of weeks. It's the time of year. Scott is now a member of the Moore High School band, I guess, through his kids.
I'm employed again.
Yeah, Walt is driving back and forth to work for 2 hours and stuff. All of our Beth is about to come out with a book. Sean's working on stuff. It's just that time of year. So we've been off for a couple of weeks, and so anyway, we haven't seen Ronnie in a while. Ronnie, it's good to see you, man.
Hey, Ronnie, tell everybody that we're on, because I'm pretty sure some of them don't know that we're on. So be sure to share us.
Yeah, we, honestly, because of the time of year and because of everyone is so busy and stuff, we probably wouldn't be on. But you guys launched a Kickstarter in December, so we're gonna support it.
Yeah, damn the torpedoes.
Yeah.
That's unusual. A Kickstarter in December, because this is the time of year where it's very difficult to get air and stuff. But you have air on this. I mean, you're a third of the way home in 9 hours. So in
9 hours, that's pretty badass.
Not too shabby.
Hey, look who else just showed up. Hey, Mom.
That's Walt's mom. Welcome.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
We were talking about her earlier, and she was an art school teacher.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
For, was it, Mom, chime in here. Was it 24, 26 years, something like that? High school?
Wow.
And an artist on her own right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I am the product of an English teacher and an artist. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Comics seem to be in my blood, I guess.
Hey, can we talk a little bit about the artists? Can you? I mean, I don't mean to put you on the. Here's the artist right here. If you want to just maybe talk kind of freely about who you worked with and kind of maybe what, just whatever you want to say about the artist. Because before you start though, because people know me. Let me say a few things. You gave me some preview stuff, and I've looked at the Kickstarter page. The artists are really good on this. I really like what I'm seeing here. It's definitely a different sort of, it's not superhero art. It's relationship art. And everyone on here is really great at expressions. As an artist myself, I really appreciate how good your artists are with characters and expressions. And it's just really nice, clean, beautiful artwork. I think you've chosen really well on your artists.
Thanks. It
Thank
was
you.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very hard to find because we had so many worthy entrants. We had to narrow it down based on scope and context, and eventually what gelled most easily together.
And I think we made some absolutely, I'm going to just say that Brent and I are fantastic at matching artists with writers.
Absolutely.
Like the choices that we made are so perfect that like I can barely believe like how great the stuff is that we matched. Like that we pulled portfolios for these great pitches, and we felt so strongly about our choices, and we were so correct. So I have to give us props for how
surprised.
Own it.
Going on.
Honestly. We did receive so much beautiful artwork. We got so many portfolios, and this is obviously my first project, but from what I've heard from other people, usually you get more pitches in by way of words than portfolios, and we actually had an absolute abundance of artwork come in with not as many pitches without artwork attached. So there was a bit of a struggle because there was so much amazing talent to choose from that we really had to be thoughtful with the choices that we made. And we, I'm not usually one to like be like, Michelle did great, but like I think that we did a really good job with being thoughtful on who we matched. So
marrying an artist and a writer together is a huge thing. I mean, you can really misfire on that. So, if the end result is what you wanted, if it's magical, then congratulations, you deserve to take the victory lap.
Yeah, truly. I'm very proud of that one thing that we did, Brent.
Yeah, we get into that weird kind of dry slap happy giggling about it.
Yeah.
Because we really were shocked at how good we did, because we weren't expecting, like, there was no hubris born out of our initial decision making. That all came later.
Yeah.
Like hindsight hubris.
Because we were kind of running off of like our hunches. We were like, I just feel like this is right. Like without any real like reasoning behind it. It was really just, I feel like this is what we need to do. And we kind of just allowed ourselves to, maybe because we were so overwhelmed and had so much to decide, that we just kind of were allowing ourselves to make these sort of jump decisions very quickly, because we were like, I have too much to do. I can't think about this anymore. I feel like this is right. Let's just do it. So it could have gone very wrong.
Sounds like that was the way to go.
Yeah.
And now the artists you're looking at right there, those are our reward artists too.
Yeah.
So like there's like an entire subcategory of art.
All right.
I don't know how you want to break those out, but those were intentionally chosen as well.
Yeah, just
kind of reached
talk
out
a little
to
bit about whoever you want to highlight, and then we'll get on to, let's see.
Yeah, that cover is pretty
prints,
cool.
Let's wait on the prints for a minute. We'll get to the extra stuff,
Well,
but just whoever you want to talk about as far as artists.
Well, we can go through the reward tiers. You want to scroll down a little bit too.
Sure.
The book, obviously the book.
Go ahead.
I want to mention, this is Michelle's thing. Michelle, did you want to mention the door hangers really quick? And then because it's kind of weird. And cool.
I mean, like, I love the 90s. Who doesn't love the 90s? And I love a folder.
I'm in on that.
Like a Trapper Keeper. Like Brent had this wild idea. I think they were just looking through promo products, like what could we make that's
Trapper
flat.
Keepers.
And
that's
I was
a shout
like,
out.
And they were kind of like, let's do like a door hanger, ha ha ha. And I was like, no, we should do a door hanger. And then like I kind of just started dropping things onto like a, just started working on it, and it sort of morphed into this really hilarious like 90s style. Do not disturb making comics, do not disturb reading comics, and it's funny. So we were like, let's just give one to everybody because this is hilarious. So this idea was just sort of born of like my 90s brain, just like, listening to old pop music and with my caution tape on my door and like watching X-Files, doing 90s things. And I'm just excited to be able to include this because it's something that's so fun. And I think especially with a book where the stories they're kind of serious at times, like things can get kind of heavy when you're talking about things like, self-acceptance and feeling, alienated and just going through some really hard things that I think it's also important to highlight kind of the lighthearted and fun side of being a part of this community also. So it's important to sort of be like, I'm gay, I'm reading comics, go away, mom. And that's kind of like what this is. So I'm happy to be able to include it for everybody that backs a physical tier.
Very cool.
And we included stickers for the next one.
I love stickers.
And, you really hooked him with that.
Big sticker fan.
We wanted to do like the pow, like Batman, sound effects kind of a thing with the comic tribute, but with all the colors across the LGBT spectrum. And then there's a moon kind of artwork as well for the colors of the sun and the moon. We were trying to go for like a day and night kind of motif. And the flowers, the petals of the flower, same thing. It's the full cornucopia of colors representative of the various, tapestries of spectrums of gender and sexuality. And it's a functional sticker with a Sharpie. We didn't want this to be a token thing. It's about this big. It's like a medallion. So you can slap it on anything, on yourself, on a locker, on a book, and put your pronouns on there, and it would tell everybody, or maybe put it somewhere where not everybody can see it, but you can see it. It's just one of those things we want to do as a gesture of that additional tier, as well as other sticker with the logo. And the prints are a completely different adventure. We can move into those if you want. By the way, sure. Brett Schmidt is the artist for the stickers. Brett took care of all of those for us.
Very cool.
Brett is absolutely fantastic.
Everything that you have here is really top notch. I mean, I think it's really well designed and really well presented.
It's very quality there. Very good quality.
Oh my! Who did this? This is incredible.
Now I got called out for intentionally choosing the artist, and I sort of did. But there a lot of them people I'm friends with, and a few of them came forward, and I was like, okay, well, but Skylar Patridge, who you might know from Resonant with Vault, is a very good friend of mine, and
awesome.
And I asked her if she'd be willing to contribute, and that's her print. It's actually not even completely finished. She's going to be adding more to it as well.
That's beautiful.
And Fellhound is, of course, on our editorial team. Fellhound, again, the first person to throw me a shot in this business, and I've latched onto her, never let go since. And, and she wanted to do something just avant-garde and weird, and she wanted to flex. There's a horse, and I don't know if you know much jokes about artistry in the comic circles, but bicycles and horses.
We were joking earlier about how she had free reign, could draw whatever she wanted. And she was like, I'm going to put a horse in here.
Horses ain't easy.
So a knight on a horse with the giant rainbow flag, and that's Fellhound's spirit in a nutshell.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, how about these two?
Val, we reached out to because Justin was on the team, and Val was the artist for Justin's comic Finger Guns. And I thought having different voices as part of this experience was necessary. Michelle and I realized that with just us going out on a limb on this, it was getting a little sapphic, and that's kind of where I sit a lot. And we wanted to get some, and just we needed some diversity and representation, and so we asked Val to create something that was representative of the gender spectrum, and it was still within the scope of the romantic. And Philip Sevi, of course, I published industry veteran as well, we wanted to get something similar in scope, and that's what he came up with for me. And
Are we
kind
going
of
to talk
joke
about this one? Actually, we should talk about this.
I ship Spider-Woman and Captain Marvel. I don't know if you know much about your Marvel lore, but they've been friends for a long time, and there's plenty of background for it. I mean, this is what I do. So, so it's Meryl and Tess getting married for legal reasons.
It can't be Carol and Jess, but it can be Meryl and Tess. To avoid any legal issues.
Right.
So that's who that print is. It's a nice joke in our little circle about Meryl and Tess being our favorite couple.
It's totally Meryl and Tess. I don't know what you're talking about.
What's that saying go? I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally Meryl and Tess. That's
Meryl and Tess. Can't come from
That's Meryl and Tess. And Adam Ferris came to us and approached us and asked if he could do a print. And we like them a lot. And the Good Fight, I believe, was the anthology that Adam was the executive creative director for and also editor. And it was against fascism and advocacy for tolerance. And we said, let's go for broke. And this is another gender representative one as well. And that's just the raw pencils. I mean, there's a background that you're not seeing yet. It's gorgeous, and it's all full
love
color.
The concept here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically this is just one robot, but there's actually a field of robots, and this is hard-coded notions of gender. So that's like a male-designated robot, but it's exploding outward, and someone's escaping with a female-presenting gender form. And
I get it.
It's just really great.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, what am I doing here? Let's see. We've got a journal sketchbook.
Hey, tag you in.
All right,
Michelle.
I'm going. I think I don't know if it's gay people in general or pretty much everybody in a creative field that like cannot resist a blank book.
It's a creative thing because I have so many empty sketchbooks here.
So many.
You just can't resist it. And I think if you can make something that's irresistibly like it's beautiful and you're like, I can always use another blank book. Like this is something that people would want because it's like it's functional, it looks nice, and I don't know, it's great quality. We're getting them from Denick. I don't know if you've used one of their journals before, but great quality. I got some samples. They're really just, they have a good hand feel, as they would say in like the retail business. Like it feels nice to hold, and it's got a good matte quality on the cover, and the art by Michi, who is another member of the Liana Truebud family. I kind of met them through Liana and Brent and thought of their artwork because of this just gorgeous abstract style that like I've seen of their backgrounds. And so I reached out to them and said, are you interested in this? Because I think it could look really good. And I'm just so happy with how they turned out. They're beautiful. So I'm really excited to be able to offer this. We did drop the anthology logo in black on the spine and in the bottom right-hand corner on the cover. So that will be included. I wish I had the samples at this desk.
I don't think I've ever seen that on Kickstarter.
What, a nice journal like that?
A journal.
Really?
I like that a lot.
It's nice.
And for exactly the reason why you just said. Because I have a thing for whatever. Stationery, notebooks. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Newsflash. I think we've got a pet. I gotta get this up. Let's get the full
They were definitely wanting attention back there.
Yeah, he's my resident yapper. This is Hansel. Gretel's still upstairs.
Hansel or Gretel. All right.
No.
He's 15 years old. They're both they're brother and sister. So they're both 15. But he wanted some attention, so.
Well, I get it. I used to have a dachshund myself and loved that little dog dearly.
Mine is over. Mine is right there on the couch behind me. I don't know if you can see her.
She's an old lady too.
Yeah, she's 12. She just turned 12 this year.
Oh,
I have
frosted faces.
Puppy from hell. He's downstairs.
All right. We'll go back to our deal here. Tarot card. Bookmarks. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that combination.
Yeah, we're doing like an oversized tarot card. I think that this idea was just sort of birthed from seeing the artwork of Sarah Allen Reed. Now, Sarah has been such like a wonderful addition to our team as a member of like our Discord and on Twitter, just somebody who wants to give back to the community also. So we were incredibly happy to be able to include these bookmarks. I mean, this is one of 3. The other 2 we do not have artwork for yet, but this just gives you an idea of just the level of detail, and
that is cool.
Proof of concept.
Super cool. And I'm excited to get these cards printed, and I have some ideas for like different things we can include in the cards to make them, obviously you can pump up the quality the more funding you have coming in. So
of course,
note the dimensions though, just for the base.
Yeah.
They're jumbo, so
they're big.
Yeah, 4 inches by 6 3/4.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to printing these. We've had a lot of good feedback on them, and
I love the art.
We haven't, every detail is very thought out for us, down to like what will we do like a color core, or will we do a rounded cord, like every tiny detail we think about. So
if we blow goals, we're doing all of those things. We want to put a core in it.
Yeah.
So they can look heavy.
I'm really hoping for a color core. So, and the tiny little note card is just something that I threw together just to send people like a little blank card with an envelope, encouraging them to write a note to someone. That's all it is.
Nice.
Something simple, just like a nice touch.
I like it. I mean, you have a bunch of different. Oh, wait a minute! You got a retailer discount.
Yes.
If someone wants to get it in.
It's 7 books for 100, so it's like getting 3 books for free, because we are projecting a retail value of between $25 and $28.
Okay.
We err on the side of the latter end of it due to weight as well as paper stock and size, so it's closer to 28. And using that math, it's about 3 books for free. So
how many pages is this? You think this is going to?
It's over 140 pages.
Yeah.
So we're lowballing it, to be perfectly honest.
Real.
But we want retailers to like enjoy themselves. Like, we don't want this just to be a discount, because we know that there's stores out there that really enjoy soliciting these kind of things, and sometimes the ones that are known for soliciting, they get hit almost too hard. We want this to be a joyful experience for even the stores, to put this into the hands of readers that they know will appreciate seeing themselves in it.
Yeah. The sugar daddy. I guess that's you're going to get everything.
Scroll up. It moves.
Wait. Yeah.
So, I think there was a day where I was like, Brent, where are you? I need help with something. And they were just like, I'm getting something done. I'm having something made for you. Hang on. And I was like, come on, we got to get to work. And they were like, hang on. And then they sent me this animation. I was like, this is okay. This is what you're working on.
This is what I was wasting my time on. Yeah. We wanted to lean into the meme, and it was Michelle's idea to use it, and we thought it was great. And that whole sugar daddy,
it looks like you're getting a little bit of everything here.
I was wondering if you were going to have a poster of that cover.
Yes, it's the whole kit and caboodle plus a Glycine print, like high definition.
Stuff. Yeah, because I saw that and I was like, that would be cool as a poster.
For sure.
We're going to do like really 15. High quality prints. We're only
going
to do 15.
G Clay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, G Clay. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, G Clay. And just 15 individually numbered. Yeah, top
like
shelf.
Logistically, it's difficult to try to get them signed because she's in Europe with, everything happening. But
yeah, so just numbered, not signed.
We're going to be numbered for now.
Script review?
Yeah. Brent, you want to talk about these, or you want me to do it?
You actually talk about me. I'm fine with that. Go ahead.
All right. Well, one thing that we noticed from previous campaigns that both of us have backed is that tiers that tend to sell are script reviews, because people are always looking for somebody to review their work, looking for a way in, looking for feedback from somebody who's published, and it can be really valuable to get that feedback. So we picked a few people, including Brent and Justin from the editorial team, both of them, to do some script reviews. Also, Eric Palicki will be doing a couple script reviews for us. And Eric is apparently a family friend of Brent's. Brent has now disappeared, so we can just appreciate the fact that
you can say whatever you want now.
Yeah, right. I can say whatever I want. I am alone in this. They did this to themselves. No, I had talked to Eric at New York Comic Con this year, and he made the mistake of saying, anything I can do to help your campaign, I will do it. And I was like, great. So I DM'd him and I was just like, well, you want to do a script review? And he was like, I'll do 2. Great guy. So really excited. He's had a bunch of great projects. I know he worked on Deadbeats. He worked on, I don't know where Brent ran off to help me with Eric Palicki's list of books.
Right.
I very famously buy a lot of comics and don't read them. So I'm not as up on everything with comics.
I can do that too. I mean, you wouldn't believe my stack I have.
Stacks and stacks of books, and I just have such a hard time getting through
I have a few stacks that I'm trying to get through myself.
My backlog is terrifying, but
probably anyway. Here's the other people. Same thing. Justin Richards.
Yep. So we've got.
Oh, we got.
This is a commission.
Work.
Yeah, this is actually already sold. Fell's commission was our first one to go, and then we had.
That's cool stuff.
That is really cool stuff.
Fell's amazing. Yeah. So I was really excited when she wanted to donate a commission, and then Adam is doing a commission also that also sold already. But it's just so cool that people are so excited about the artwork for this book and what we have to offer. There's Eric.
Yeah.
And
cool.
I'm just really excited about the people who have wanted to be involved in this. It's really cool.
How about this?
Now, she's a friend of Brent's on the internet here and makes this beautiful artwork. And
that's awesome.
Does not think that, I don't know, she doesn't think as highly of herself as she should, obviously, because look at it. Brent, you're here just in time. Please take over.
What for this?
How about
for
this
Linnea?
Digital poster commission? Yeah.
Yeah, Linnea is, or AKA Papercat, is kind of legendary on social media as a digital artist and illustrator, and has done covers for a lot of Kickstarter based comics. I mean, just look at the examples. Her style is this sort of very highly detailed and, in my opinion, laborious process, because she really sweats the minutia in terms of folds of fabric. There's a little element of classicism to her style and renderings that I think. And I asked her, hey, can we include you? And she's like, nobody will want to use me. And I go, no, I don't think so. I think you're good. And so I have quite a few of her commissions myself already printed out and framed. And she's the last commission standing. I know somebody will take advantage of it. I just don't know when or who. But she's amazing, and she garners a lot of attention.
I'm like, wait till payday. I'm gonna buy it myself. Honestly, it's so good. I can't.
I'm sitting here going, gosh, I'm not getting paid anytime soon.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, we're eating some of the costs on that tier because I want her to get compensated for it, and she is not. She values her work accordingly, and I just think it's worthy. But she's a member of the community. I want her to get as much portfolio work as possible, and I think she would draw something really like Walt. You see, you're already like, oh, I got ideas. I mean, somebody's going to grab that because she's going to kill it. Single figure, and she's just going to throw herself into it.
Cool, very cool. Okay, so you're going to get to see some of the art that I was talking about earlier here. I mean, look at the expressions on these characters. Such clean, beautiful artwork.
That's Brent's story, actually.
Yeah, it's my story. I work with Rachel. Is it Disler? Rachel Disler. She's coy about using her full name until recently. I think her professional handle is Red Tie Bear.
It is. Yes.
But I just love her style. It's this really interesting amalgam of East and West. That has a sort of Miyazaki by way of almost like an Archie-esque look, and
that's what I was thinking here.
Yeah, and by the way, she went to art school where I think her primary instructor of note that she considers a major influence is Bob McLeod. And,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's pencils and ink. She's non-digital.
We were trying to get Bob McLeod on the show. Actually, we met Beth met him out in Dallas.
I think he's still up for it.
I hope so.
I guarantee he would be. He's the most approachable. I guess affable would be one of the most appropriate words person I've ever met. Very no nonsense. He was a drill sergeant with Rachel, from what I've been described in terms of like, but not in a negative connotation. He just he respected her. He respected her innate talent enough to challenge her in ways that I think left of most fond memories.
Yeah, that's good.
She loves him. So I mean, it's great to have her as part of my artist. I'm really lucky.
And in fact, he's here in Texas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he's out of Houston. I think so, but I'm up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So,
how about this artist?
This is my story that I wrote, and I honestly I have to thank Brent for letting me put my story in the book to start, because I had like no faith in it. And I was just like, look at this crap that I wrote at 3:00 in the morning. What am I going to do with this? Kind of was like where I was at with it. And Brent encouraged me throughout the process of formatting it. And I think anybody who writes comics can appreciate the fact that formatting a comic script is not the greatest thing. And you kind of worry because there's no real format. It's just kind of a guessing game of what will make sense for whatever artist you end up working with, and you kind of just have to hope that it translates.
Every comic script is a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on who writes it. There is no kind of standard. Like if you write a film script, it better be,
I took
very specific
screenwriting
things.
in college, and it was scary. So I think I had that kind of drilled into my brain that it had to be a certain way, and it was a struggle for me to let go of that.
I mean, if you're not using the correct program in that, you're out of. I mean, they are very serious about the type and the formatting and the program that you use, etc. With comics, it's a very different thing.
Oh,
I mean, it can be very, very formal, or it can be very casual. Like, I mean, you can talk directly to the artist in that, and just kind of say what you want to say in comics.
And I found my artist just through tweeting, asking for people that would want to be interested in being a part of this type of project. And I was so overwhelmed by the amount of replies that I got to like a simple tweet about like drawing a story. Me, somebody who I often joke about how I have like 200 followers on Twitter. I have zero reach. Like I'm not like a part of like the comic community. I have no seat at that table, like at all. And then like to get that kind of response of like amazing portfolios. And I like my artist Tench, she lives in Russia. Her artwork just like.
Did she lock up?
She may have locked up, but I'll fill in the blanks until she reconnects really quick.
So the artist is from Russia.
Ooh,
Russia, yeah.
I lost you for a second.
There we go. It's okay.
Yeah.
She's from Russia. I saw this fan art piece that she did from the Christmas movie Klaus. I don't know if you've watched it. It's an animated movie on Netflix that I love. And I saw this artwork that she did for it, and I was just so blown away by how beautiful it was that I was like, I don't care. This is the person that needs to draw my story. I feel like I had like an emotional reaction to her portfolio, and I was like, this is the person. I absolutely must work with this person. And, I'm so happy that we've gotten to know each other throughout the process of working on this. She's really a fantastic artist in person, and I'm so honored to work with her, and I'm really excited for everybody to get to see how fantastic she is. Like, I look at her art sometimes and just laugh. She sends me like work in progress of this story, and I just like I can't believe it. I just get so like this is something that I'm working on. Like, are you kidding? So I'm just very humbling every day. So
that's awesome.
Really excited.
How about this here?
Yeah, Gabe. That's another one that kind of came out of nowhere. Gabe approached us just as an artist, saying, "Hey, do you have a story?" And I'd love to draw for it. And we had this kind of an orphan story that was one of the most unique out of all of them. That we knew immediately upon reading it that we wanted to include it, but we knew it would require some kind of aesthetic that would do it justice to keep up with the other stories, because this is more allegorical. It's one of the few allegoricals. I said in the rules it didn't have to be an actual event relayed authentic, but it had to be kind of inspired. And this is somebody who took that and ran with it. And Lillian did an amazing job with it. I won't to explain it would spoil it, but I think you get an idea of the aesthetic already, and how we matched Lillian up with Gabe, and I think magic happened. Another good one.
Oh, they're all good.
Yeah, I mean, you wanted to alternate, Michelle, to talk about Krista and Katie, but
I mean, I think the art kind of speaks for itself. I mean, I'm just I just get so happy. It's like I'm looking at the fridge right now at all the pictures that my kids drew that I tacked up there, basically, is what this is doing. I'm just so proud to work with these people. I mean, their visual storytelling is all just so incredible, and it's
very unique.
I'm so happy that like we're on such a good pace to fund, because like I want as many people as possible to be able to look at these stories, because they're really going to be so beautiful.
This is a personal identity story, and I don't know if you're familiar with Cabbage, but the freelance editor in the comic sphere, also writer, journalist, amazing person in general. And this is their story about their personal journey of identity. And we wanted to match the story up with an artist that we felt, one of those rare instances where we didn't match the artist of the story, we matched the artist of the person.
Yeah.
And it just was kismet from day one. So
it like came in and we just like had a feeling. Truly, that's how we did this, and it just works.
Let me shout you out again for the way that you've presented this stuff. The design on your Kickstarter here is really good. Very welcoming, very professional.
Oh, by the way, it's up to 182.
God.
You're kidding.
Nope.
It's good.
That's cool.
That's good.
What are we doing on?
Taskforce Geek Power.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like I said, I'll take credit for it, whether that's true or not.
You can have the credit. Thank you.
Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mario, but he's a talent winner, I think, for Top Cow, or he was one of the major talent winners for a prop contest, and has done tons of anthologies. I think self-described tons of anthologies. And Laura is an up-and-coming artist from the UK cool. that works with Mario, and Mario's like, I gotta give Laura this shot to really just shine. And they heeded my rules regarding bringing on anybody. A lot of the creators are doing their own coloring. We have a lot of writer artists, but here they actually brought on somebody who's LGBT for their coloring, and I think they killed it. And yeah,
I love really the cool layout on this, and the mirror look here, and then you're talking about color. I like the cool versus warm there, but with the pink screen on both of these, nice touch.
Yeah,
well done, folks.
And this is such a great story about like having a relationship that basically begins like all over the phone, which I think it's a sort of a joke amongst, the gay community on the internet. You meet someone and they live 7,000 miles away from you. So you basically just sort of exist on the internet because that's the person that you connected with. So I think that it's such a relatable story. I'm really excited to have it in the book.
Sometimes that's the way it happens. The artwork in this book is really good.
God, Nathan.
We got really lucky. Nathan was one of our earliest submissions.
Yeah.
And Nathan's like, do you mind if I go a little, metaphorical or whimsical with it? And we go, sure. And so we were thinking it was going to be some like wizard in a castle kind of a scenario. And frankly, it's not. It's indescribable. It's a necessary story. I think some of the way love can be a weapon as much as it's something soothing, and it's dark. despite its veneer, but it's also necessary. And the characters are drawn in such a way that I think fairly represents how we sometimes tread in precarious places. And healing often requires accepting things that you do and the things that are done to you. And it's probably one of the more powerful and stories in the collection. And we didn't see it coming. We knew it was going to be good, but we just didn't predict the nature and tenor. And I'm glad it's here, though.
I saw that when I saw this thing, I was really impressed with the style here. They've applied kind of an old comic look to this, which I thought was very cool.
That is cool.
This was an earlier submission too, and I remember seeing the art and being like, Brent, you have to look at this. Where are you? Because I of course was like, all right, we have an editorial meeting on Friday, so we'll all look at the stuff as they come in on Friday. But I was like sitting there refreshing the folder, like, what's new? Gotta look at it. Have to look at it immediately. And this definitely was one that I was like, Brent, you're gonna die. You're gonna love this. You have to check. I'm really excited for this story.
So cool.
Man, this one probably was the one that we worked intimately on with the creator, because there was a very specific vision to the narrative, and it was the one that was truest to the journey of notions of acceptance and mutual acceptance and care, and the idea of loving somebody for who they are rings the most soundest. And I think that one's going to really hit a lot of people who fall within the space of continually discovering their authentic self and experiencing the joy of finding someone who takes them in wholly for who they are.
The color work in this comic is really exceptional.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the artists. Another writer artist, by the way. Again,
I see that. Yeah, all one right there.
This
How
one.
about Long Away?
Mm-hmm.
The first time that I read this script, I was absolutely inconsolable after, just mentally unstable. It's just such a beautiful story, and it just it really hits home. I'm seeing what's in the description really quick because I don't want to give anything away. Yeah, it's like dealing with your parents, and I think a lot of people, I think in the gay community especially, have kind of rocky relationships with their folks. And I think this is definitely going to be something that tugs at people's heartstrings 100%, because it's just, there's a lot that goes on that I think people will really relate to. And it's such a beautiful story. The art is incredible. And I'm just I love Tilly and Susan Bridges, are fantastic people. I'm so happy to have been able to meet them, and some great threads on Twitter about the Matrix movies. If that's something you're interested in, there's some great stuff there on their
and
Twitter
Star
feed.
Trek too.
Yeah,
Star Trek
so
as well.
Incredible people.
I'm into both of those.
I can't say enough
Ditto.
amazing things about these people. So this story, I'm really excited to see. I sound like a broken record. Really excited to see this one. Really excited to see everybody look at this one. But I really do feel that way. Everything is just so special in its own way.
I think they were also writers recently for the science fiction awards that came out.
I saw that on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hugo? Is that right?
Hugo Award.
Hugo.
Wow.
Yeah, they're involved with the Hugos. Yeah.
Wow.
So, amazing people with just a wealth of portfolio talent that they have, and just so happy to have them on this project. This story.
Both sides?
Right, you go ahead. I'm sorry. I love all of them so much.
Yeah.
It's just it's so difficult to say something other than I love this so much. It's going to make everybody emotional. I think it literally just sort of is about, different sides to the same thing, and really just processing things that happen to you, processing trauma. The artwork is beautiful. The creators are so involved in their work, and it really shows. It shows through the product that they hand over. when they're this invested in what they're doing and they really care about it, and we can tell. I don't know, Brent, you want to add anything?
No, this is the story I wanted to have somebody submit without actually asking for it.
Yeah.
I as much as I love the nature of love is joyful, but there's a line from a story that I wrote that I always come back to, and even with my own stories, and that we're indebted to grief because it gives memory purpose, and this comes close to that in terms of execution.
Very cool. I like the layout on this a lot. Oh, that's cool. Drawing lines, posting signs.
This is a self-reflection story. One of those moments where you realize you question the fundamental nature of who you are because you're presented with what you've been told has been wrong your entire life. And you realize that the boogeyman doesn't exist. I think that's the best way to put it. And it's really great, powerful story. And just from the one page alone, this is one of those weird things where we weren't sure what it would look like when we match a certain person up, or I don't know if this was a match or not, but it just the style of the art and the pitch was just so avant-garde that we wanted to challenge ourselves a little bit. And I think it came through in spades.
Yeah, excited for this one too.
Did you, by any chance, ask your artists to experiment with color or be colorful? Or
this is them.
Did that just happen?
Just happened.
I mean, because just look through this. I mean, the color in this book is very unifying. And not that it's the same.
Right.
It's not the same, but it's all very much... It's very experimental and beautiful and different.
It reminds me of the, in a lot of ways, it reminds me of looking back at old heavy metal magazines.
For sure, yes.
Because, there was always such a
vibrant,
a very diverse style of artwork, in your face stuff.
Color.
Yeah.
And art.
I think maybe when you tell people to do what feels right to them, I think maybe when they know that there's not strict rules and things, I think maybe they challenge themselves to try new things also, because they know they have that room. So
I invested in a book called The Colorpedia, which, by the way, they've had 2 volumes of it out. It's brilliant. It's about comic book coloring, and it has a lot of information for people who are into coloring in comics or doing paintings or whatever, and I can't suggest it more highly. But this book is another kind of a treatise on color, I think. I mean, if you're interested in the possibilities of doing, if you're not even interested in the subject matter of this, pick this book up, folks, for the color work. It's just incredible.
I think we may have infected it subconsciously, through.
I think it's very interesting that you don't have something that is like, I mean, I don't know, maybe there's something coming, but that's muted or, this color is very in your face in a wonderful way. Oh, there's one that I just said. There's one that's black and white.
It won't be black and white. They were having trouble settling on final color schemes and didn't want to turn it in and change their mind. Well, so we said that's fine.
You tell them that they've got a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
No pressure.
They're going to do great.
Brent and I love this story. We love this story so much. It was probably the first one that we read, and we were like, this is absolutely 100% in the book. There's no question. And we've told them as much too. Like, we've told Julia and Alex, who made this wonderful story. We talk like they're proud parents. We'll tweet about them and they'll be like, oh gosh, you guys again, come on. We're just like, this story is so beautiful. It's so cute. We love it so much. We're so proud of them. And it's just the nicest people creating just something so beautiful. And I'm just so thrilled. I love it so much.
I mean, it's pure poetry. I mean, if you actually look at the page, like the words and the way they flow, it's just.
I love the layout here and all the stuff that's going on. Yeah, beautifully done.
So, again, broken record. It's so beautiful. I can't wait for everybody to see the finished thing. I really can't. Like, I truly can't.
And this one's in development, but we're giving them a little bit of rope because Liana's so busy. But it's Liana Kangas with Jazzle and Stone, who I just think came hot off that Joan Jett book.
Oh,
that came out with, and they're going to tag team up again for us.
very nice.
Nice.
And I mean, here's the rundown on everyone here. And you said 36?
Yeah. About people? That, yeah.
I mean, we could go.
And we kind of gave everybody the space to like freeform say whatever they wanted for their own bio and submit whatever picture they wanted. Again, we're really sort of pushing the.
That's great.
Like, yeah, I love it. Because not everybody's comfortable with, their own face on the internet.
Of course.
So we were like, whatever makes you feel happy to represent yourself, send to us and we'll put it up.
I mean, the creativity just pouring off of even just this.
Yeah.
In terms of personality.
I mean, you're laying out all of your fees and stuff here. Look at this.
Yeah.
Well done on your Kickstarter.
Nice.
Thank you. We worked really hard on it, so
I mean, come on.
Thank you.
I can tell.
Appreciate it.
First stretch goal.
If someone who's a nerd for like this stuff, the back end stuff, Kickstarters and distribution and printing, and that's me. I'm very much promotion.
I guess it's me too now, a nerd for the back end stuff of this Kickstarter stuff. So I appreciate that. It was,
I would
hard
point.
Work for us, so.
I would point. I mean, we talked to a lot of people, and some people get it, and some people don't. I would like bookmark this and send it to people to go, hey, if you're putting together Kickstarter, your page should look like this.
That means a lot.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. We tried to be hyper cognizant of doing everything that they tell you to do.
Do you see this?
We're
this
ticking
looks
up
like a
as we
telethon.
Go. Yeah.
It's gone up. It's gone up. What? 4 since I last? 4 or 5 since I last?
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
We're less than $2,000 from halfway at this point.
Right. We want to go over 9,000 before we wrap up this show.
I'm pretty sure, since Steve is out, I told, one of our viewers and
Steve,
my best friend, Steve, he was out for a birthday party, and he said he would probably try and catch on the tail end. But I'm pretty sure he'll go back and he'll watch this, and his name will probably show up on the list. So,
good.
For you, Steve.
He's a Kickstarter guy. So,
we will come back to this soon, but I want to make sure, and if you've been watching this, to get this address out here and get you over to that Kickstarter. You've got 29 days. This is the first day of this, but don't wait, because you've got an early bird special going right now, right?
There's a couple early bird tiers, so you can save a few bucks, and it's always appreciated, especially in these troubled times.
Yep.
Get yourself another cup of coffee and a book.
There you go.
And we only got one commission left too. That's that Linnea commission too. So
It's going to be a fight for that one.
We're all like, who's going to back it first?
That's nice.
Yeah. And by the way,
I
it's
want
digital,
that one.
But she has like a giant thing that she works on, and this is a poster size commission for her. So this is going to be at a DPI ratio where you can blow this thing up to like almost movie poster size of whoever you want.
Hey, by the way, my new job, and I haven't really said this out there, I work at a printing company now. So
cool.
There you go. I mean,
I know. I'm like, so I'm like sitting here going, ooh.
Yeah. So she does up to 3. I think she does up to 300 to 500 DPI depending on what you need. But
that's good. Yeah.
Very nice. All right, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit and ask Brent about producing the end of the world.
Yeah, this is so that Anthony doesn't kill me. This is Producing the End of the World is another anthology that I'm in, and it's run by Soda and Telepaths. And I really wanted to work out because we got 11 days left, and we're almost halfway there. We just crossed that big 50% hurdle about half a day ago.
Again, 318 backers. That is amazing.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's riddled with talent. Now, here's the conceit. its stories have to be about the end of the world, but no zombies, no aliens. It's got to be featured in the overarching narrative, either in a hindsight or reflective way, in an ever-present way, or in a looming way. But it has to deal with some kind of apocalyptic scenario. And my story is actually about a gay man that comes home in a small town in Missouri called Elysium, and it's called Elysium, where he tries to reconcile with his father before what's happening to the world eventually catches up to where they are. And it's heartfelt, and it has the end of the world ever present in it. And I think it has one of the more emotionally honest scenes I've ever written. And I really hope it funds, because I really want to see it in print.
Well, I mean, you've still got 11 days to go, and you've got a lot of backers on this thing. I would like to see this thing fun too, because you mentioned two things that are big for me: post-apocalyptic,
yeah,
and Love, Death, and Robots, which is like one of my all-time favorite entities.
Yeah, it runs
that's
the
way
gambit
up my
too.
alley.
It's good stuff. I've seen a sneak peek of some of the stories. By the way, go to the Prison End of the World Twitter later on, and you'll get some sneak peeks of everything. I think
I'm going to go through this. Go through a little bit of this here just to make sure that people can see what's going on. I mean, this is good stuff too. Very nice. That's super awesome. I mean, you see the art, folks. This is a long page. You've got a lot of information here. How many people are involved in this?
Oh, geez, oodles. 2-person teams spread out across at least a dozen stories, if not more. And there's our bios. That's that. If you want to get a quick scope of everybody involved, that's all of us right there.
I mean, once again, the anthologies is the way to go.
I'm in agreement with you on that one. I love anthologies.
I do too. You get all of this, all these different, voices all in one place. It gives you kind of a, you get to sample a lot of different stuff that way.
This is slightly pricier, by the way, because it's based out of Australia.
Oh, really? No, Australia, known for their post-apocalyptic stories. What is that? There seems to be a lot of stuff from Australia about the end of the world.
Well,
there actually is. Them in New Zealand both.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's where everybody wants to go should the end of the world come about.
Are you guys big film buffs, like from the 80s and stuff? Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of all time, The Quiet Earth.
Oh, yes.
New Zealand, I think also it was about. I love that movie, man. And talk about a cult niche thing, though. But if I could think of anybody who would know what that was, it'd be you guys.
That one I'm not familiar with.
There was one recently that was really good, and I'm not going to remember the name of it, but it was also from Australia. And it's basically 24 hours at the end of the world. I mean, it was really good, though. This is like in the last 5 years. It's not coming to me.
That reminds me of, and I think we had this conversation a few months back in an episode, the Shin Godzilla movie. I just want to see another like disaster movie where all it is about disaster management. Like, because I was like, yeah, this movie has Godzilla in it, but I'm really intrigued with Japan's disaster management system. I want to see more of that.
Shin Godzilla was a good. I mean, it's a monster movie. But in between it, it's a disaster.
It's disaster management. It's
politics.
It's political, all that stuff, So, and that's close to Australia and New Zealand. So that's
a good point. Maybe it's something in that. What is it?
That whole
what they call the fire rim or something.
The Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire. There you go.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. All right, so I mean, we've got 11 days to go on this. And we're halfway there. So, I mean, get over there. Let me put the stuff up for that as well one more time. Make sure that you can pause this on YouTube or whatever, and you can get the address. And all of these links will be wherever you're going to see this. We'll make sure you get those links. So to both of you, I'm going to go back to you two. Tell us what comics inspire you. And I'll start with Brent.
Oh, okay. I grew up on Classics Illustrated.
Really?
My mother had them, and
Yeah.
that got me into illustrated storytelling. And she also had lots of Copper Age stuff. But that was their first taste of it. And now, I think I'm driven. I'm going to be that weirdo that loves writing and in the independent space, but is inspired by the big two. I am a superhero person because to me, they're allegorical figures akin to us, but they're larger than life. And I always rail against the notion that there's like that whole the thing about like the spandex wearing capes and all those other cliches, when in actuality that they're everything but that. It's like that superficial veneer of the whimsical, but they're our modern era Gilgamesh.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, the whole reason I'm a big Captain Carol Danvers fan is because of the trials and tribulations of her life, which is one unbroken journey. She was never reinvented like a lot of DC. Marvel has a bit more of a coherency to its lore, even though they collapse the chronology over and over again to accommodate space.
Right.
It's still the same people. And I really love the idea. I guess if I could, Carol Danvers is hero. Captain Marvel's the job.
Right.
And I love the trials and tribulations that come with these human figures that band together because they have the ability to make a difference. And like or lump Stan Lee, his entomology regarding the nature of hero is somebody who has the capability of doing good, demonstrative good, and then does so. Chooses to do good. That's a hero. And it doesn't matter what that ability or power is. We bury ourselves in the fantastic out of entertainment, but they are an allegory for doing and choosing good, despite their foibles and their frailties. And that's what drives me in its entirety. Captain Marvel is just somebody I hung my hat on because she inspires me and I identify with her in many ways. But overall, it's that notion that drives me forward and makes me want to write human stories, even if they aren't always about Cape Crusaders. But that's where my heart is.
Yeah. All right, Michelle, you're up.
How do I follow that?
Yeah, that's tough. Sorry.
God, you gotta stop making me go after Brent. Like, this is difficult. When I was a kid, I read Generation X comics with my sister. I thought it was super cool to have I like Jubilee. I mean, like, who doesn't? But like,
sure.
I think that she's really cool. And one book that I really remember from when I was a kid, I read it to the point where the cover was falling off. Was like one of the old like What If Marvel books. It was Jubilee versus Sabretooth, I believe, was the I can't remember the whole title of it. I wouldn't be able to tell you. It might be in a shoebox behind me somewhere. But
right.
I think I just remember this sort of overall feeling of her feeling hopeless, her feeling lost, and I think I started to really kind of latch on to that, the visual storytelling of trying to figure out what you're going to do because you feel like maybe there's no future, maybe you have no hope. And I think I've always it's sort of like I've been having a lot of conversations actually with my artist on this book about liking the morally gray characters, liking not so much, I don't want to call it the villain, but like, like, a Loki or,
you identifying with that?
If we're talking about Arcane, which like who isn't right now?
Oh my God.
Jinx, like
do not get me on Arcane.
I know we'll be here all day.
Michelle is the Jinx apologist.
There's nothing to apologize for. She didn't do anything wrong. Anyway, I digress. But like, I think there's just something so wonderful about how those types of characters can be developed in comics with even some of just like the background nuances where they'll put those side characters, just like literally off to the side, but you can still read it on their face. And I think there's just something about that type of storytelling that brings me closer to my like wanting to get more into comics. As far as like my favorites. I mean, I like Miss Marvel. I like Kamala Khan a lot. I'm absolutely obsessed. I'm not super looking forward to the Disney Plus show. I'm gonna try to give it a chance, but I have some reservations.
I've heard the reservations.
But I absolutely
They're out there.
I loved the G. Willow Wilson. I love Willow Wilson's entire run on Miss Marvel. It was so inspiring. I love every word of it. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Carol, which is funny considering that Brent and I are like two sides of the same coin. And that
we got to disagree on something.
The only thing we disagree on is their favorite thing in the world. So I think it's just, I do like superheroes in a lot of ways, but I think it's a lot of that the deeper feelings that come through in comics that pairs the art with the writing, and it can almost be poetic having that, like the dialogue or like almost voiceover work in comics can be poetry matched up with art. And I think you were talking about like the colors on our book, and I think that also can invoke emotion. And I think I want to be able to tell stories that somebody will read and have just like an emotional reaction where it might help them, figure out where they're at in their own life, similar to how comics have helped me. So I think
for sure
that's like best I can say. I don't know how to follow up Brent's beautifully
that was
poetic.
good.
I think you did quite well.
No, you did well. You did better than you think you did. Yeah.
Yep, you certainly did.
And by the way, Jinx once.
Right.
Proud of me, Brent.
I don't want to belabor the point, but I really do feel that you are the Victor Von Doom person. You are the Jinx person. You're the person who you like flawed characters that dance between villain and hero because of their own nature, because of their own trauma or decision making or choice. And I think that's perfectly fine.
We got that.
It's
I love Loki.
I don't know if I identify, but
Jinx.
But I understand.
Yeah, I do too.
I understand them. Like a lot of people who say that they're Punisher fans are Punisher fans for all the wrong reasons. I mean, I'm
true.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm a Punisher fan because the man is damaged. And he's dealing with trauma, but he's not dealing with it very well, and I identify with that. So I get it. It's just like I identified with Thanos. I didn't agree with the method in which he did what he did, but I totally
that's what made that guy such a fascinating character.
Right. And
is sound.
And those characters, to paraphrase Chris Rock, when he says like I would never, and I go through this every day in traffic, I would never shoot anybody while I'm driving. I would never do that. I mean, even though I don't carry a gun with me while I'm driving, I would never shoot at anybody while I'm driving, but I understand why people do it. So yeah.
I want to say we're up to 8840 now, and if we don't hit 9,000, I'm going to be mad.
Come on, y'all, let's go.
Where are you at, Steve?
Come on, Steve.
But we're up to 190. That's not too bad.
That's not bad.
Crazy.
We're getting close to our pre-launch numbers, which is statistically insane. But I mean, because we had some good pre-launch too.
That's awesome. All right. So my last question for the two of you is what's coming up next? And Michelle, so you don't have to follow Brent. I'm going to you first.
Come on.
I actually want you to answer for both of us. So you're
What's coming up next? I feel like I'm on, like, you ever watch Hot Ones on YouTube with the hot wings? This camera.
This is the last dab.
What's going on?
Love that show.
What a great show. It's so fantastic. Too. Anyway, right now, what I have going on is obviously The Color of Always. We're hoping to be successful and release some secret stretch goals. And a lot of it has to do with hopefully the future of ourselves as independent publishers. Like I said before, we built this table, and I'd like to continue to invite people to sit at it and keep that door open for people and to help people and to find new ways to help people and to never lose sight of this. Never lose sight of the fact that this began with us building our own table. Hoping to do a volume 2 of this.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously all depends on what type of surplus funding we get, how quickly and in what way that would happen.
I mean, I don't want to curse you guys, but I mean, I think it's going to happen. I mean, you're a third of the way there already. I mean, you're
10 hours.
Yeah.
But
this obviously spoke to someone already.
Yeah.
It's a lot to digest.
So start thinking about the next issue.
So, I mean, we have some great ideas for the second volume, and we have some great ideas for other projects, I think, for, I've always been interested in publishing. So if the way to be a publisher is to just wake up one day and just decide, I'm going to do it because I'm sick of waiting for other people to enable me to do it. And if that's what it takes, then, this learn as I go approach is working out just as well for this. And hopefully I can apply it to the future and help more people and continue to encourage my friends and, fellow like-minded creatives to explore their talents and stories. Like, I love to encourage my friends. It's watching other people succeed is so exciting for me. So getting involved in independent comics is so fun because I get to watch other people like enjoy the success of getting something published, of releasing new art, like having a story come out in an anthology. Like Brent's had like 25 anthologies come out this year, and I've loved backing every single one of them. And I think it's so wonderful. I like to get the book and see their name in print and take a picture of it and be like, look, it's your name, and send it to them, and like they know. But like it's fun. I get like joy out of seeing my friends feel success. So I'm excited to keep that up and to be a part of them acquiring those successful moments. So
For sure.
I'm hoping for the future that I'll get to keep doing this. So
I think that you need to put some time aside for this because I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, we really want to make this a thing if we can. But more to the point too, we wouldn't be upset if we turn this indie thing into a thing that crosses the line a little bit. And because I mean the goal is normalization.
You bet.
So let's get more books out there with voices that aren't heard very much, because God knows there's the artists out there,
For sure. Brent, what do you got coming up next?
Well, one's been funded already, and we're just waiting for it to go into production. Because I think I don't know if I mentioned it, but one is called Off Into the Sunset.
You did mention it, but
yeah, that was the Western stories. And then, of course, producing if it funds. Yeah, Off Into the Sunset's great. Do you mind if I grab something for you? I can kind of give you an inkling.
Please,
of what it'll look like.
Let's see it. I like Westerns too. Let's see it.
It's cool. The story for Off Into the Sunset that they wrote is fantastic, and their story for Producing the End of the World is also obviously fantastic.
Let me bring you up full screen
the
here.
Page for one of the stories.
Oh,
I actually wrote the story, and my collaborators were both Liana Kingus and Skylar Patridge, again from the print earlier, and so it's called Seeing Red, and I think you can kind of get some of the very base metaphor there from that, but it's a little bit deeper, and I'm really excited for that to come out as well.
I dig that.
And
Very
but
cool.
that's Off Into the Sunset, and then Producing the End of the World if it funds. I think am I doing anything? I submitted some stories to Band of Brothers for their anthology, which is kind of a horror thing, and there's also an anthology that's kind of running a little silent. Yeah, it's called Femme Fatale, and it's like badass women. I wrote a story for that, a really, really short one with Marcus Jimenez Hughes, who's president and CEO of Dauntless Comics.
Cool.
Yeah, Brent has 25 anthologies coming out, as I said.
Apparently so. He's done 25, and there's 25 more coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'll back every single one because that's what we do.
That's awesome. All right,
So,
that's great. That's good stuff.
We're checking in one more time here. We're
at one more.
We're up one more. I'm gonna get mad.
Oh man,
we're so close.
It's very
it's
close.
$142. Is that correct? I'm an artist. I'm not a mathematician.
that looks right. That seems right. Well,
That's
Seems
about
right. Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to our next section here, if I can find this. And then we'll wrap it up. Here we
Okay.
go. Scott and Walt tend to have a lot of stuff. Do you have a lot of stuff today, Walt, or is it going to be brief?
I have
Try
one
to keep
thing.
it brief since we just butted up to 2 hours.
I have one thing, and I should have had it right here with me, but I can reach
I'll
over
go first.
and get it. So
I'll
you
go
go
first.
first.
Yep, here it is. My on blast thing for today is this book right here. Can you see it? There we go. It's called Morpho. For people who are artists and want to find a really cool book to help with anatomy and stuff. This was a big surprise for me. I am into getting anatomy books because I'm never happy with. I will never, if I'm 150 years old, I will not be happy with the anatomy that I'm doing, and so I'm always looking for an opportunity to learn some more stuff. You can see what's going on here. I think that for the artists out there, if you're interested in Bridgman's work, I think this is kind of the next style of Bridgman stuff. It's very good with working with the interconnectivity of muscles and figuring out. I like in this how clear the muscle definition is and how they move the bodies around so that it's not just someone standing straight up and down. You also have movement with this sort of thing. This particular thing is muscle bodies, which if you're drawing superheroes, muscle bodies is where the action's at, folks. So anyway, there's a lot of these Morpho books. I was very impressed with this one in particular. It's a neat little book. It's bound in a way which allows you to put the thing out flat, which is important if you're drawing stuff. I just went to a convention not too long ago. I took a book with me to help with anatomy on the fly, and this would have been much better. It's much smaller, and you can lay it flat. And so if you're interested in in anatomy stuff, and I am right now, then I suggest the Morpho books. There's many of them, and this is one. That's it. All right, Walt, you're up.
So, as you know, I'm newly employed, so I still don't have very much money to go out and do things, but I did anyway. So, because it's one of those things where if you don't get it now, you'll never see it again. So I had a little extra, and everybody knows I'm a Transformers fan. So,
uh-oh. Cool. Oh, that is Dinobot Slug.
Yeah, with a Daniel Witt wiki. It's from they've been doing the Transformers the movie. They've been re-releasing masterpiece versions of some of the characters. Cool. I think there's like a Rodimus Prime and a Hot Rod coming out as well sometime soon. But I saw it like 2 weeks ago, and there was like plenty of them. And I was like, I don't have any money. I can't do it. Just started a job. I don't have any cash. Then I went to go do some grocery shopping last week at the local Wally World, and they had 2 left. I was like, well, you better get it now, because if you don't get it now, you're just not going to ever have it
forever.
And then if you do ever get it, it's going to be 3 times the price. So just go ahead, bite the bullet, get it now, and sell some stuff.
Make it happen.
Yeah, but other than that, I started watching some shows on Peacock, and I'm watching Brave New World. So
okay.
I'm 3 episodes into that, and I'm probably going to have to go back and start over from the beginning because, like I said, I'm 3 episodes into it, but it's been 3 weeks since I last watched it. So I better go back and start over and make sure I remember what I watched. So
very cool. All right, Michelle, you're up next. Just give us something that you've been reading or watching or whatever.
The commission. You just got back.
Well, I was going to talk about my morning with Assassin's Creed Odyssey with the surprise crossover event that they dropped yesterday.
Oh, what is that?
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
They released like a free downloadable content for Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla crossover. So there's a new story for both games that intertwine. So
that's
I'm
cool.
a huge enthusiast of Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. She's my absolute favorite. I tell my wife all the time that Cassandra is my soulmate. And it is what it is in this house. Like, we all know our place. And so this morning before Kickstarter launch, I spent probably 2.5, 3 hours digging into the new Odyssey quest, and the new map is gorgeous. I had a really great time playing, and I'm looking forward to digging deeper into that. And I might even boot up Valhalla again, even though I kind of ended that game with contempt. I mean, Brent, you were around for those DMs while I was trying to beat Valhalla.
It was rough.
I was just so angry about all the outfit choices, and it really poisoned my mind.
There's compared to Odyssey, there's a goose egg in comparison.
Yeah, just in case there was any doubts, I'm very gay. I like outfit choices, and I like to be able to choose cute outfits. And I would text Brent I'm gonna die, and this is the outfit I'm gonna be wearing, and I'm not happy about it. So I put 100 hours into Valhalla, and then I was I'm never playing this again after I beat the main story. But then they literally did the only thing that would get me to play that game again, and it was to drop Cassandra into it. So it looks like that'll be my weekend probably coming up, and I'm looking forward to it. I just love Cassandra. So
I don't know what it says about me, but I love outfit choices too.
Thank you.
So you're not alone.
Does it count that I'm always changing liveries in Gran Turismo?
I think it's the same. I think it's exactly the same thing. Or creating.
Is that the same thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Customization is where the action's at.
Customization is where the action is at.
Yeah.
You are correct.
So yeah, that was an unexpected announcement. They announced it yesterday. So
that is cool. I love that sort of thing.
I was really excited. I couldn't believe it because we already had all of this going on today, and I was I took today off work, so it was perfect timing. So I had a few hours this morning. I was able to get into it a little bit before launch. So that was, I would say, the most recent thing I've got going on.
This paid off nicely for you.
Yeah, it did. It really did. I'm pleased.
Cassandra came back for you from the wars.
She did. She came back from the wars for me. I knew she would. I just had to wait. It's fine.
That's right. Sometimes it just takes a little time.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, Brent, you're up.
I've been watching a lot of Wheel of Time, and
yes,
Ted Lasso as well. Catching up on some Ted Lasso on season 2, and they're both really been a lot of entertaining and fun. I guess my life has been pretty much this though, but in terms of cool stuff, especially in light of recent events, I got I continually try to either collect key Carol moments or have them signed. I don't like slabbing, but I do like slabbing for the provenance of signing. I think that's so. I hate blue labels, but I love yellow, which probably may ruin me in the long run. I don't know, but first Warbird got it back from the
nice.
George Perez signing, and considering recent events, it's much more cherished even now than I thought it would be.
Very cool.
So shout out to a living legend that's still with us, and I wish him and his family the best.
Absolutely,
and,
definitely.
The times to come. But yeah, that's my big thing, I guess.
That's awesome. Very awesome. What's your thought on Wheel of Time so far?
Excellent. I really liked it. To give you, someone tweeted something that I thought was very funny, but it was basically Game of Thrones versus Wheel of Time. It was Game of Thrones creators, let's add a whole bunch of violence and and racism and weirdness, and then it's Wheel of Time creators, let's add more lesbians that really were in the lore, and so, I'm a big fan of that. So go more power, go team. So it's been a lot of fun. It's really good.
There was another one that that a friend of mine, me and him were talking about Wheel of Time. People were, it's nothing like Game of Thrones. Of course it's nothing like Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones. This is Wheel of Time.
Yeah, why
exactly.
would you want the same thing again?
Right.
God knows I don't want that again.
Especially how they
We
turn
don't
it
have
into a
time to
turd.
unpack that either.
Yeah.
We don't. Yeah, I agree completely.
I don't understand why you spend, what was it, 8 seasons or whatever doing something and then deciding we got to wrap this up. Wrap this up immediately, as quick as humanly possible. Let's wrap this thing up. You know, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm pained. Pains me to this day. So I don't know.
The same thing happened to the Man in the High Castle.
Oh yeah,
is that right?
I mean,
what a shame. Why do that?
And they didn't like. And it's the same problem but different way. Like, there's going to be an ending to Game of Thrones, and I guarantee it's going to be nothing like what they did when they rove it into the ground.
Right.
But Man in the High Castle, that's like taking the most. I mean, trying to adapt him to TV is. I understand because it's a very compelling hook, but his stuff is weird, man. Like,
and the way that it ended, and I don't blame the producers for this at all. I blame Amazon Prime for deciding we don't want to do this. We don't want to produce this anymore, and it needed one more season to wrap up. And it was just like, oh, let's just take the 5th season and put it into the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was great up until that point.
Why ruin a series by rushing it along or, you know, forcing
or just
poor ending?
Or just forcing its end without a resolution.
Try to, you know, stick the landing.
Yeah.
Because that's what the series will be judged by from then on.
I
Stick
just
the
think
landing, folks.
Money and investment and speculation kills creativity and in like deep entertainment. Because if it's not killed off like Man in the High Castle, it's it goes for too many victory laps like Lost.
Yes.
And you know, so it can go both ways.
Yeah.
Now, Brent, sure. I'm not sure if it was you I was having this conversation with, that if everything got made the way they made like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where they made the whole thing without any influence from public opinion, without any influence from the studio, like nobody had an opinion that was taken into account while they were making the second 2 movies. Like if all media got made that way, where we stopped listening to people complain about stuff, then maybe we would have better
make it in a
additions to our franchises lately.
What makes your statement even more profound is that even when they were riffing, it was on point. Because the Sam's speech, that's invention. That's invention based on the theory of what they thought Tolkien was trying to say. And they nailed it to the fucking wall. It was great. But it was nothing to do with the books. But it was still magnificent.
Yeah.
But like they didn't have any, like you said, make it in a vacuum. Like we should do more media in a vacuum, because I think everything is being made for a shareholder now, and nothing is being made for a storyteller and their vision. Or for the 5 or 10% of you know, people on Twitter who hate everything. I mean, I call them fan holes. They hate everything. Where vocal minority.
Yes, the vocal minority.
You're not doing the voice though, Dirk. You're not doing the voice.
Can't always channel the voice. But I mean, it would be very nice if creators would stick to their vision and then, you know, bring it home before it got criticized or, you know, ratioed on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever.
I just
for
think
sure, because
I think there's a lot of go ahead.
The general idea that creators have at the beginning is usually on target, and then, you know, it gets put out into the world and destroyed.
Yes, so much poison.
That's the reason why
by the small minority of people who just like to bitch about everything.
Yeah,
that's the reason why I have a problem with American studios trying to translate Japanese animation into live action. And you know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about Cowboy Bebop?
And what else should I say?
It was a matter of time till that came up. We were running around it without actually saying it. But yeah, Cowboy Bebop is a big one too.
I mean, the actors that they chose were on point. Everything was spot on. And then I started watching it, and I was like, "What did you do?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into it. That one gets divisive as hell. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. I don't want to go deep into it either. It's just that it was an opportunity to expand it, and they didn't.
They spiked it. They spiked the ball right, and it just didn't work. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. By the way, perfect casting. Even the teasers, people were losing their minds. How could you forget?
I was sitting back. I would watch the teaser.
Fun.
I'm sitting back with this, going, let me watch that one more time.
But if we're going to talk about a good adaptation, it's important to note that we're 3 days away from The Witcher season 2.
Yes.
So I think that's pretty much universally liked. I could be wrong, but I'm excited.
You're right. You're right.
You know what? I'm a big fan of The Handmaid's Tale.
The one we're living in, or the one on Hulu?
The one on Hulu, not the one we're living in.
Give it time.
Not the one we're living in.
But no, yeah, they're going off the rails now, of course. But I think it's big, and not in a bad way. But I mean, plot wise, they've run out of material. This was never meant to.
Well, yeah. What is it?
I mean, what is it? The first season. The first season is actually the book.
Yeah. Well,
and then they went and tapped Margaret Atwood for which direction to go, because she wrote a sequel book.
Yeah.
So, and which I haven't bought yet. I keep seeing it, and I'm like, you want that book, Walt. So
I'm worried about I don't know. There was that one book that they discovered a sequel for it, a classic from Boo Radley. Someone help me.
Kill a Mockingbird.
Kill a Mockingbird, and that sequel.
Yeah,
we've got a sequel to Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, sort of.
It's sort of. Yeah, I heard about that.
I'm worried about that kind of a thing.
Let's just leave that alone.
For real.
That's like trying to do the sequels to A Christmas Story, and they're out there.
Unnecessary.
I mean, I love a bad Christmas movie, but there are some things that just shouldn't exist.
They're out there, and they're and actually, what it is Christmas Story is one book out of 3, and someone they tried to do the summer vacation book, and it's a totally different cast. They actually should have done them one after the other, but A Christmas Story wasn't a big hit in the movie theaters anyway, so that's the reason why.
I don't know. More media in a vacuum, I think, is the general consensus.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Right. We don't need 140 Charlie and the Chocolate Factories either, by the way.
I think that was a remake that should have just not happened.
The 60s version is just fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up on another one now too.
I know, and I mean, it has what's his name, Chalamet, who is awesome, but I don't.
Paul from New Dune.
Don't think we need it necessarily.
It doesn't need to happen again.
No, it doesn't need to happen again. I think we can all agree.
That's like let's keep Battlestar Galactica off the list again. We don't need it again. I mean, the first one was great, and I enjoyed the second one. We don't need a theatrical adaptation of a theatrical trilogy of Battlestar Galactica.
So many stories that haven't been told yet that could we could try something new.
I think maybe if they would go back to the remade Battlestar and end it properly, if we're going to talk about things that they destroyed the ending of. But again, we don't have time for that.
No.
Have us back. Let's talk about this.
And by the way, you two are welcome back anytime. Absolutely.
Well, I was going to say, Dirk, you were throwing around having a spoiler alert where all we did was talking about the whole Battlestar Galactica minus 1980.
Honestly, feel free to give me a call if you want to talk about Battlestar. I have so many feelings about Starbuck and how they ended that show that I could probably... You're
talking about the second one?
Yeah, the one with Katie Sackhoff and what's his name, Edward James Olmos.
You didn't like her character arc?
Oh no, I didn't like how they ended it.
I don't like how they ended it
her
either.
Her character arc absolutely
weird
was
ending.
So devastating, and I just wish I knew what was supposed to happen.
Because I'm not sure the writers were entirely sure what was supposed to happen.
On that, they were hinting at some elements from the original series that they never really. They really never got to expand on. So
I just wish they had more time. I wish they had been given one more season, and I wish there was something. I wish they would let them go back and write a book or a comic, anything to finish it.
They could have done They could have done that with what they did with the Razor movie.
Yeah.
They could have done that as a filler movie.
They could have.
I would have taken a movie to end it like that. I think that could be done. That's a thing.
Now I will say, Blood and Chrome. If you've seen Blood and Chrome,
it's good.
It was good, and
very good.
That theme song, I downloaded that theme song, and every day to work, I put that on repeat, and I was just jamming to that theme song.
I love that. I loved that Battlestar series, the newer one. I absolutely adore it. So if you need people to come talk about it,
I'm about to say, you two have shown your geek bona fides here in the last few minutes. We will definitely have you back for sure. Usually when we do these, I was trying to keep it under, around an hour, and we're 2 hours and 21 minutes. But usually what we do is we pick a couple of topics, like news things that are going, and there's plenty of stuff we could have talked about, including all of the news drops that we've had lately. And George Perez is another good example of stuff we could talk about. I was trying to keep it under, but here we are.
Yeah.
Hey, it's always fun to go on those tangents. We always go on those tangents.
It is. And, I also think that you have an important project here, and hopefully you will send people who want to know about the project in lengthier explanation. Hopefully you will send people to this broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we're going
to link.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I hope that people who want to know more will come here and hear what you have to say, because you had a lot of really good things to say about your project and about much bigger things too, I think.
And if there's anybody listening and they need to reach out to us, we're,
Uh-oh.
Oh, we lost Brent.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
I was gonna say Brent and I are available, and Brent's like, "Whoop, I'm out."
He's gone.
Oh, bye-bye.
And he's gone.
And they're gone. So
here he comes.
I think
here he comes.
You
that's
can
all right.
reach out to us on Twitter if anybody that's listening has
it's
questions
promo
about
time.
the project. So
yeah, let's get that. We'll start with you, Michelle, since you're going.
Okay.
Just tell us where to find you.
You can find me at Cereal Pancake on Twitter. Two of the greatest breakfast foods. So just mash them together.
Yes.
I'm at Cereal Pancake on Twitter.com.
You have no idea. I really do love breakfast.
They're not just for breakfast anymore.
No, they're not. Right. Breakfast all the time. So reach out with any questions. Feel free to talk to me about running a Kickstarter. Happy to share anything I've learned. That's pretty much the only place to find me at this point in my life. That might change. You can also reach out at Color of Always on Twitter and Instagram. We run both of those. The two of us do that too. So It's another place to find us. Brent, go ahead. All you.
All right. Yep. You're
up. You can find me at Carol Collector. Which is, if you want to unpack that whole thing, another conversation too. Carol Collector on Instagram, Carol Collector predominantly on Twitter, and BrentFisher.net for my website, for my portfolio and everything. Yep. And but yeah, come say hi on Carol Collector on Twitter. It's usually kind of where I live, and and also Brent Fisher. Well, BrentFish@gmail.com.
All right. Oh. And before we get past the two of you, let's also say there's a Kickstarter going on right now.
We're so
Color
close.
of Always, there's that. And then you've also got this URL, which also works for that. Mm-hmm. And you have another project, which is post-apocalyptic, which I love. So get over there and let's get that past the finish line, please.
It's at 194.
Yeah,
8,956.
I was just about to go to that.
We're so close.
I'm telling you, $44 away. It better happen. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Come on, Taskforce Geek, push. One last second.
We're so close. We're so close.
I will say one parting thing too.
Big 9,000.
All Along the Watchtower is my favorite moment in Battlestar Galactica.
I'm like, Brent,
Oh.
don't. Like, I can't. Too much. Don't. Oh my God, I've cried too much already. I cannot anymore. Cannot.
Yeah, that whole third season was pretty dismal.
Yeah.
Walt, talk about your stuffs.
Well, I'm not gonna try and read all that stuff, but there they all are.
You don't have to.
Gotcha,
It's going.
Yeah, I'm a Gatchaman fan, by the way, and that's where you can find me right now. I'm on a hiatus and doing any kind of commissions or anything right now because of the new job. Because right now, tonight, this is the latest I've been up after getting home from work.
Is that right?
This is right. So
because you're worn slick.
I'm worn slick after the, and it's usually the drive home. So usually the drive home, I'm home, I eat, and then I watch about 10 or 15 minutes of TV. I fall asleep. Yeah, and everybody knows I'm a wrestling fan, so I don't know what's happened on Monday Night Raw for the last month because I fall asleep in it. But yeah, those are the places where you can find me. As I said, I'm kind of on hiatus on commissions right now. On my free time, I'm spending time working on me and Dirk's little project.
I can't really talk about it, but I'm writing. I mean, Walt kind of created this.
Yeah, I can't really talk about it.
I mentioned something not too long ago on one of these episodes, and Walt said, if you write it, I'll draw it. And so that's what's happening.
So yeah, that's it.
That's all we can say right now.
I'd show you some rough sketches, but I'm not gonna. So
no, let's wait for another time.
I'm gonna keep that secret.
Yeah,
so
we can talk. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, I'll put up Scott's stuff since he's at band camp or whatever the heck it is that he's doing. And there's Scott's things, and then there's Sean's stuff because I love those two guys. And
it's Scott. I'm pretty proud that you've taken up and being that band parent.
Yeah.
As a former band geek myself,
he's a good dad.
I'm pretty proud
Scott's a good dad.
I'm pretty proud that you're backing up your daughter there. I'm pretty proud of you for that.
He is. He's going out of his way, for sure. All right. Well, there's all my stuff. I have a lot of news, but I can't really share it on here because it's in kind of another life. But there's some interesting stuff happening. Walt broke the news that we're working on something. I mean, who knows how long that'll take. But, it's exciting to be writing comics again for the first time in quite some time. And it's exciting to have someone to work with on that. So I'm excited. And if you want to see more of my stuff, it's right there. Just a programming note. It is the season, like I said earlier. The whole crew is busy with stuff. So, and it's unusual to have a December Kickstarter like you two have. But you seem to be doing pretty good. So anyway, we're going to take off the next couple of weeks, and let all of our creators have a little time to themselves and to their families and to their projects, whatever the heck it is. So we can take a little bit of a break. So anyway, we will see you on Taskforce Geek in the new year. Brent and Michelle, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
This has been a pleasure.
And you guys are $9 away.
Oh, $9? Are you kidding me? Well, I got to bring that up. That's insane.
You're $9 away.
Come on.
Oh my God.
Someone out there has got to push us over 9,000. Wewe're so close.
Because you can say it's over.
Exciting watching it tick up with y'all. So thanks
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for having us on day one to enjoy this. With us, it's been fun.
Brent gets so excited that he gets off the.
Yeah, Brent gets so excited they dip out.
That was the equivalent of an internet pass out.
That was me pushing refresh on the wrong window.
Thanks to you too. Thanks for everyone for chiming in. We appreciate any time that someone comments on the show, and thanks also to Walt and for Scott and for Sean, who are not here tonight, and for the rest of the Taskforce Geek gang. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to all of you, and to everyone, Happy New Year. We love you all. We appreciate it. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you participating. And I guess that's it. So until next time, this is Dirk Hooper saying, dream hard. Mm-mm-mm.